Ladies and gentlemen, I am Melvin Banks, and this is the Carbonation Conversation coming to you with a review of Netflix Fear Street 1994, Part 1. And before we get into that, as always, don't hesitate to ring that bell, like, subscribe, comment down below so the algorithm can stop kicking our asses. And secondly, Happy New Beer. Now, since it is October, this month, I figured we might as well get started in reviewing some horror movies. Now, I didn't expect anything coming into this movie, Fear Street. I didn't know what it was about. I was actually watching it with my wife, and she was like, "Wasn't this a book?" I personally did not know until I Googled it after the movie, but apparently this is an R.L. Stine book, and this is based, I'm assuming, loosely on that, which I thought was pretty cool because back in the day, especially the 90s, R.L. Stine was like the go-to in book horror for us in middle school. It was just awesome. I still remember some of those books, and I did fall in love with the R.L. Stine Choose Your Own Activity books because obviously you make a choice, go to this page if you want to do this, go to that page if you want to do that. Man, it was just the thing to do back in the day. I love those Choose Your Own Adventure R.L. Stine books. But yeah, this is based on an R.L. Stine Fear Street book. Fear Street apparently was a little bit more geared towards teenagers going into adults. Even we see in this movie, although it's not a lot of gore and sex, it's enough if you are watching it with your teenager, or if you're doing like a Halloween movie night with a bunch of teenagers. This is up to par with that, and it doesn't go over the top in gore and sex, but it's definitely there. So I will just say that as far as that is concerned. Let me take a Happy New Beer. So, Fear Street Part 1, 1994. And I'm not going to go through this review in extreme detail, play by play, like me and Ito do our reviews. I'm pretty sure you notice that Ito isn't here. I'm just reviewing this by myself. But it really revolves around, I would say, about 4 to 5 characters. Dina is the main character, her girlfriend or ex-girlfriend Sam. We do have Dina's brother Josh, and Dina's, I would say, 2 good friends, possibly 2 best friends, Kate and Simon. And the movie really revolves around these 5 characters. The opening credits were very interesting. It is hard to keep up with the opening credit scene as far as just different things. You saw newspapers, this killer, that killer. What we find out is there's 2 neighboring cities within the vicinity of wherever they are. One is called Shadyside. The other is called Sunnyvale. For whatever reason, things just keep going wrong on Shadyside. Massacres, murders, even the potential and rumors of being cursed by a witch from a long time ago. Sunnyvale, on the other side of town, gets no crime. They're prospering. It's like, the burbs, like the rich people area, basically. Everything is cool there. And so there's this big conflict between both towns or both cities because they're technically next to each other. And so everybody, at least Dina's brother Josh, thinks that something is definitely going on. Like their entire side of town is just cursed. Shady side, that is. But it does open up with a nice homage to Scream. We see a woman, I believe her name is Heather, closing down in a mall. And this is coming from a person who worked various malls. I will say, it's never usually that dark when you close. I mean, I'm pretty sure they probably just did that because it was a horror movie, but I never remember the mall lights going out. Well, at least majority of them. Like, it was damn near pitch black in the mall. But I did used to hate being the last one to leave in a mall. There is just something about being the last person to leave in a big area, whether you're in a huge store like Best Buy or, you know, in a mall. It's weird, the feeling of somebody, you know, watching you and things like that. And we see Heather closing up. She, you know, at first, you know, she's hearing some noises. She don't know where it's coming from. And then she sees the janitor, which kind of freaks her out. And then we see what we can only perceive to be her friend Ryan. He works at another store. Looks like a Spencer-ish store. And she asks him for a ride home. And he goes, yeah, you know, let me lock up. Let me do my thing. When Ryan is heading back to his store, he does hear a voice call out to him, and the next thing you know, Heather is still waiting for him, and what appears in front of her, you know, is Skull. What's this character's name? Skull Mask, and he just starts chasing her everywhere and eventually kills her. The only difference between this and like the beginning to Scream was when she took off the mask, we actually got to see who it was right away instead of like waiting to the end of the movie to tell who it is. And it was actually Ryan, the guy who was going to take her home. So, you know, she's just wilding out, you know, she's just like, it's me, it's Heather, and he just continues to stab her. By that time, the police do come and kill Simon, and then it goes to current day, and we are introduced to her friends, Kate, Dina's friends, Kate and Simon. What we find out is everybody, you know, thinks this is kind of like at least Kate and Simon thinks this is kind of like a joke. They're saying, you know, the sayings that, whatever the witch says, and they also sell drugs, which was really random. I mean, I know it's shady side, and you know, it's. I'm assuming it's mostly Kate, but I don't know that for a fact. I think Kate and Simon are kind of, you know, selling the drugs and stuff like that. Happy New Year. But not really just any, like, you would think in like high school, the most of the time people were just selling like weed, maybe a little bit of alcohol if they can, you know, put it in some Ziploc bags or make some pre-shots or whatever. No, they're selling like prescription pills, drugs, some hard ass drugs where if you get caught with them, your ass is going directly to jail. Do not even pass go. That was a little tripped out, especially in the scene where Kate had her little sisters bagging the pills up. I was just like, holy shit, okay, all right now. And this is when we find out that Dina is she just was in a relationship, and she wanted Kate to give her ex, which is Samantha, a letter. Kate said, I don't want to deal with that shit. you can't give it to her yourself. I believe it was Homecoming, Shadyside versus Sunnyvale. And Dina was on the band team, but she quit, I'm assuming because of the breakup. And she's just like, you know what, fuck it. I'll dress up, band, hop on the bus, and go deliver the letter to myself. So, at this point, we are having a memorial for the massacre in Shadyville, or Shadyside, sorry. When Ryan, apparently that wasn't the first person he killed like 7 other people, 8 in total. And this is when we're introduced to Sheriff Good. He basically gives a speech saying, y'all problems are our problems. We care about you guys, all that good stuff. And then a little fight breaks out amongst the teenagers, and each side feels some type of way. So when Shadyside is heading home on the bus, we got some of the, I'm assuming, like the seniors chasing after them in a nice car, throwing shit at them, calling them assholes, etc., etc. And for whatever fucking reason, they decide. At first, I thought they were just trying to. They get a Gatorade container that we see like players use, the huge bin container. And at first, I'm like, are they gonna throw just the water, right? But when Kate and Dina are holding it, they hit something and the whole fucking thing falls out, and the car, Sunnyside's car, crashes into a tree. Now in this car is Samantha, her boyfriend at the time, Peter, and a couple of other friends. Now Dina and Samantha had already had a discussion before the fight broke out, and it was just back and forth. Dina was hurt that she saw Sam with someone else, which happened to be a guy this time, not a girl. Sam is just like, hey girl, you broke up with me, so I don't understand this hostility. And teenage love, shit like that. But they stop the bus, they get out of the car, they make sure that everyone's alive. We do see Sam crawling on all fours. It seems like she gets mini possessed by the witch. I am assuming at this point she is real. And they basically take everybody to the hospital. I do like the fact that even though Sunnyside and Shadyville was on different sides, all the kids told the story, right? It's like, yeah, it was just a misunderstanding. Sheriff is kind of saying what happened, and no one is saying anything at this point. So we do get some other scenes with Skull Mask. We see that he is following Dina. He is on the outside of Dina's house. Dina thinks he is Peter, and she's just like, oh, great, Mask, we get the fuck out of here. And then he's still following her, but nothing actually happens. We see Kate and Simon at Kate's house, what it looks like, and we see Skull Mask in there picking up Simon's shirt because his shirt was all bloodied. And then we have a hospital scene where Dina goes to try to confront Sam about her boyfriend, like stalking and just doing all this extra shit. And Sam has no idea of what's going on. She's denying it. She's saying Peter has been here the whole time. Peter actually comes from wherever he was coming from, maybe getting some snacks, or maybe went to the washroom while he was watching Sam in the hospital. And he even admits that it ain't him. And this is where we're introduced, or not really introduced. Skull Mask comes and just wreaks havoc. He kills Peter. At this point, Sam and Dina are running for their lives. And he he basically kills quite a few people in the hospital. It's fucking crazy. They all go to the police station, and the police, Sheriff Good, really doesn't believe them. I mean, who would? Especially when the Skull Mask tries to kill Sam, and they take off his mask, and it's actually Ryan, a dead person. So they're telling Sheriff, like, look, it was Ryan. I know he's dead, but it was Ryan. And so the sheriff just doesn't believe him. They end up stealing a gun from a horrible police officer who looks like he just wasn't paying attention and was a little asshole. And they also steal an ambulance, and they go off to try to see what the fuck is going on. And so at this point, we have them trying to survive the rest of the movie and figure out what's causing this. I will say that they do realize that all these beings, because eventually there is a lot of more characters, people who used to be who were possessed years ago and killed multiple people and then died, are just coming back to fucking kill Sam for whatever reason. They realize that it's Sam's blood of what they're chasing, not Sam. And the only one of the killers that didn't go for Sam right away, actually went for Simon, was the lady killer, Ruby. Apparently Ruby killed a whole bunch of people and then slit her wrist after. So that was a little bit weird. I was like, oh, okay, I thought, well, that don't make no sense if Ruby's coming, but it is what it is. It's not really, it's adult horror, but again, it's more geared towards teenagers, so I'm not going to hold it a lot accountable. But I will say that they, once they realize it's Sam's blood, that these dead killers are going after, they do set a pretty cool trap. They go into the school, they put all the chemicals that they can find in the bathroom, and then they cut Sam's hand open so they can get some of her blood and lead them all into this room. That is exactly what happens. That is exactly what they do. They set the room on fire, pretty much explodes. They get some fire extinguishers, and because they want to see some remains. And it was very Terminator 2 with the T2. At first we see just black goo all over the place, and then we see it kind of coming together, and he even makes a hand and tries to grab Josh, and we see that they can't be killed. So at this point, they come up with a pretty fucking crazy idea, because they're just fed up. They're just like, Kate and Simon is just like, why don't we just give her ass Sam? Like, Sam is the only one that they want. Once Sam is dead, they will, in fact, just leave us be. And Sam even agrees at this point. She's just like, fuck it, yeah, let's do this. I don't want to get you guys killed. I don't want to, this is my fault type of thing. And so she's ready. They put her out there. And just when the dead killers are about to, kill Sam, they bring her back in because Josh realizes that there was someone who actually survived this. And so they try to call her, no answer. They leave her a message on the answering machine, which I thought was a nice touch, because back in the 90s, 1994, there were no cell phones, or the cell phones were barely coming out and no one had them. And so that answering machine was like a godsend back in the day. But what they realized is, what was the lady? C. Berman was her name. She was actually in the massacre from, I believe, 1978, where basically it's almost like a Jason Voorhees type of thing, where they're out, they're going camping and just a lot of people died, and they're trying to reach her. They can't reach her, but they realize that C. Berman actually did die. She died and was brought back to life. She died for 2 minutes. So now the new goal through the rest of the movie, which is pretty much the third act, is to kill Sam and bring her back. Now, maybe it's just me, but I'm not finna sit up here and say that you can't. There could have been a different way in attempting to kill Sam, because of the way that they wanted to do it. They wanted to OD her, and Simon and Kate has drugs. And as I'm hearing Simon explain, this is what you do, this is what you do, he had like 5 different piles of pills that this Sam has had to take. And I'm just like, bro, that's like over 100 pills in total. Like, are you sure? And they go to the supermarket, they lock themselves in, and they start this process. Now, the supermarket scene was by far the best scenes in the entire movie. I mean, that is literally when half of the cast dies. I mean, Simon gets an axe to the head, to the face. Kate gets put through a deli slicer, or a meat slicer, which was shocking. I was like, holy shit, and they showed it too. That's pretty, pretty badass. And Sam is over here throwing up because she can't take any more pills. So Dina S decides to drown her in the lobster tank. She ends up drowning her, and the things disappear. And although Simon and Kate are dead, seems like all is well. They go to the police office to get interrogated, and they're basically saying the same thing. Sheriff Good says, like, I wasn't trying to hear you before, but I'm hearing you now. Is this what's gonna happen? And they just keep quiet. Sheriff Good is like, so I'm gonna have to blame all these killings on Simon and Kate. Are you all right with that? And even Dina says, no, I'm not all right with that. But they're dead, and I can't do nothing about that. I was just like, oh, okay, holy shit. At this point, they think they're happily ever after. Sam and Dina, are at Dina's house. They're chilling. They get a call from C. Berman, and she says, no, it's not over. Once the witch puts your name on the wall, and then it does close up to all these names that were eventually ended up being the killers who were, massacring people. She said, once she puts your name on that list, she will never let you go, type of shit. And as soon as Dina S turned around, we saw Sam stab her in the gut, and then fight ensues. Now, only thing I want to say about this scene is, you see somebody walking. Josh has his headphones on. He's watching TV or playing a game, and I straight thought that was Sam trying to kill him. But apparently, Dina was able to trap Sam in telephone wire, and she is at this point just like a zombie, like a wounded zombie. And Dina is just, I almost thought it was going to end with Dina she's just psychotic. She just has a psychotic break, like, we have to save her. This is what we're going to do. We have to save her. I thought that would have been a perfect ending, but apparently no. She was actually very serious, so they go to C. Berman's house. C. Berman doesn't believe that there is a way In fact, she really wants them to leave. She's scared as hell that they even brought Sam here. She's like, damn, what the fuck is this shit? And she ends up telling her story, which is Fear Street Part 2. 1978, I believe, and then it goes on to the next movie. So overall, I give this movie, as far as like adult horror movies, like a 3-4 out of 10. Actors weren't even, to me personally, that good. I thought Kate, the actress that played Kate, Julia Rewald, was the best acting in this movie. I mean, Dina was, she got majority of it. I just honestly didn't like her motivation. She kind of came off as whining, complaining a lot. That's just how I feel. And yeah, those were really, I mean, Josh was good. The actor that played Josh, Benjamin Flores, was good. Kiana Maduria played Dina. So I would give them, I would give those 3. But like I said, as far as like an adult horror movie, I would give it like a 3 or 4 out of 10. As a kid/teen horror movie, I would boost it up to an 8. This is a good Halloween movie if you want to get your kids ages. I would say like 8, between 8 and 15 ish. If they've never seen adult horror movies, this will get them started. This is a great starter pack for teens and kids that are in middle school to watch horror movies. This will definitely probably give them nightmares, but it won't be like Candyman or Jason or Michael Myers, especially with the gore. There's definitely gore there, but it's not insanely gory. But yeah, I would give it an 8 out of 10. As far as teenage horror, adult horror, 3 out of 10. If I were to make a shout out right now, I would give a shout out to R.I.P. Kate and Simon, because I did think they were kind of the best characters in this movie. Simon with his lame ass jokes, but I'm pretty sure as a teen you would probably laugh your ass off. And then Kate just, being a rough rider, not really giving a fuck. So I'll shout out to them. R.I.P. Simon and Kate. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Melvin Banks, and before we get out of here, as always, if you like the audio editing and music production, don't ever hesitate to check out Mo Beats 89. That is Mo Beats 89. Work on all of his platforms. He is everywhere, guys. Go ahead and check him out. And if you want to hit him up directly for any type of jobs, or just to chat, mobeats89 at gmail.com. Again, ladies and gentlemen, I am Melvin Banks, and this is the Carbonation Conversation, reviewing Fear Street Part 1. Peace.